I grew up in Chatham. I served in the Army and the Illinois National Guard before returning to Chatham. And I live here with my wife Cindy and my 4 kids. I've attended many board meetings over the past few years, and including school board meetings. And I saw the inaction of the board and responsibilities being pushed away from certain people on the board, and then public asking for comment. We're not getting any answers. The public continued to ask. We didn't get any answers. And one day we were talking outside of the meeting, and I said, I'm going to run for a village seat. I said, the people need a voice and somebody that's going to listen and respond to them. And I said, I got with my wife and a few friends and told them, and they said, go for it, and we'll support you. And here I am a year and a half after that, in the midst of a 4-person election, running for the village president. So, and that's why I'm here.
What do you see as the primary responsibility of village president of Chatham?
Making sure the trustees and the mayor, or should I say village president, respond to the public, and their opinion counts. A small problem to one is a major problem to another, and a major problem to one is a small problem to another. And you have to look at everybody's problem to them as everybody's problem, not just a small problem. And that is the responsibility of the president, to get with the trustees to make sure that we answer all the problems.
How do you feel like your background, your experience is going to contribute to being an effective leader?
I've worked 21 years in law enforcement, actually 24. The last 21 on the streets, and I worked a couple years in the prisons. I've held rank in the military, running an NBC, the gas chamber stuff, the mask and all that, and had a lot of responsibility with that. I had a lot of decisions the last 20 years that had a lot of effect on people. We go to people's houses, and in certain instances, and we have to make split decisions and quick thinking, and that could affect their life for not just today, but tomorrow and in the future. And I think that my role that I've played the last 20 years will affect, in a positive way, the village of Chatham. We have a lot of issues in Chatham that alls we need is the right people in the right places. And I'm not saying I have all the answers for that, but we can find a team of people that do, or can at least assist us in the right direction. And I'm not willing to say no as far as everything. We have to give these people an answer. They might not like the answer at the end, but as long as you're honest with them, I think that that goes a long way with people. And I think that, and I'll bring that to the table. I'm not afraid to answer a question. I might not have the right answer right now, but I'm going to get it.
So you mentioned that a couple of times, that people need an answer. So what are the questions?
There's questions on where money's coming from, where money's going. They're asking, benefit packages for employees. They want to know answers to all kinds of questions like that. And it just seems like we get a still face.
We'd say one of the issues we hear about a lot with Chatham is its water.
Yeah.
What ideas do you have to remedy and address the issues Chatham has with water these days?
Well, we were promised a plant that operated and gave us good water. It was also said that it was supposed to put out over 3 million gallons a day. And I believe that right now the maximum it can put out is 1.8. We have to find the reason for the shape that we're in. If the plant's not up to standard by the contract that we signed, we should all be able to look at that contract and say, here, follow these guidelines. We need a answer from, if it has to be an outside source, outside of the South Sangamon Water Commission, who was running our plant, somebody else to come in there and say, this is what's wrong with it. And we need to either get it fixed or we got to come up with alternative solutions. Right now, it's probably going to cost, from what I've read, which is I read a lot about it, is between $6 and $8 million more to get us up to the standards where we need to be. And do I have all the answers? No, but I want to look into it and find out where the answers are. Can we jump right back to CWLP? That answer's no. If we forfeited our bonds, we'll never have any positive things come towards Chatham again. We cannot forfeit our bonds. Our referendums, our bonds lead us to the future, or our infrastructure. If we don't pay our bonds, nobody will give us grant money, nobody will give us any help through the state or the feds. There's got to be a solution out there. And if it all fails too, there's a couple different ways of looking at it. If we go back to CWLP, we would still owe $53 million. So then we're going to be paying double our rates right off the bat. So, and they're raising our rates another 20% in June. So we know that, and we knew it was coming. And supposedly again next year it's between another 8 and 10%. So
The way I understand that, that only pays for the bond issue, not for any kind of.
correct, maintenance.
Maintenance or. new truck
A
or
solution,
anything like
yeah.
that.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with partner with different providers to get solutions to our issues. If it takes somebody from the outside coming in to fix it, that's what we got to do. As long as it's right. The people down there in Chatham deserve a good drinking water. You know?
So what's the relationship, I can't figure this, between, or among the South County Water Commission and the village?
We signed a contract with them as an entity for like 35 years in order to provide for us in Chatham and New Berlin. You know, because we have water lines that go to New Berlin.
Okay.
And then we're in a contract with them. It's no different than another group running the electrical or whatever. We signed a contract with them.
All right.
Same difference.
And then you appoint someone to that board? Or how's that work?
Yes. There's been, I believe, 3 or 4 people in that position already since it's been installed. So I'm not sure if we have the right person in it yet. You know, I don't know. I haven't looked into him personally or her personally.
I think a lot of this came out of so much growth. I mean, Chatham has just really grown and really quickly. Do you think they can sustain that growth? What do you see as some of the potential issues, or have you tapped out, do you think?
There is a lot of question on that. We can grow, and I want to see us grow, but we have to spend our money in the right places at the right time to install new infrastructure, to make sure that everything's being built above standard, because in the future we're going to have to start replacing what we have and replacing. I think growth is a good thing. I'm all for growth. However, I believe, and this is part of my platform, is before we grow and put in a subdivision of 250 houses, how about we sit down with the school district and say, with their board, and say, can you guys handle this if we did this in the next few years? And if they say no, we need to get together with them and say, what can you handle? On an average of 200 houses, how many kids come to the school? We also need to partner with them and say, can your schools not only take the growth, but can the infrastructure take the growth? So there's different ways of looking at that. I am for growth, though.
What other issues do you see facing Chatham, maybe besides water? We know that's a big one. What would you say are
Water's
the
a
other
huge issue.
2 or 3 issues facing the village, and how would you work to address them as village
Well, the
president?
infrastructure, we
Okay.
need to search for grants. We need help from the state. We need help from the feds. We need, I got my notes here. I'm just going to go over them. Where infrastructure is the main one. Our parks need help. They're deteriorating. Whether we form a park district with a different taxing body, I do not want to raise taxes, but maybe we can figure out a way to get volunteers or donations to redo some of the stuff in our park. I know the JCs have done a phenomenal job at the park. They have a couple parks there. They've done a really good job. And maybe get another organization to sponsor our park and do stuff like that instead of coming back to the taxpayers. Because the JCs, like I said, they have done a really good job with the parks that they have. We need maintenance programs on our road, not just the whole infrastructure. But if you go through the town, there's potholes. I mean, the roads need replaced, but we need a maintenance program. I'm giving them a bucket of asphalt and telling them to make it last 2 weeks is not a good solution to any problems with the roads. Most of them need resurfaced as it is. I don't know how long you guys since you've been down there, but they do need done.
I bicycle there every morning, I agree.
You specifically said infrastructure. Were you referring to just the roads, to the
Sewers,
Okay.
I mean, there's old water lines through town that I know that they've repaired and repaired and repaired. At some point, they're just going to have to pull a hole and redo it. I mean, we got sewer, we got water lines, we got sidewalks that are in disrepair that need replaced. I mean, there's got to be grant money out there. Somebody's got to find it. And I don't know if we have anybody designated just to look for that, but, you know, it wouldn't be opposed. I would not be opposed to finding somebody like that.
Let's talk a little bit about finances. What would you say right now is the balance in the village between revenue and spending, and what would your priorities be as you looked forward to other budgets?
That's a good question. Staying away from the water, if that's what you want, because South Sangamon works in a hole every month. They're never in the positive. You know, we keep going farther and farther. That's why we're going to have a rate increase. Our electric rates are going to go up. I don't know if anybody's told you guys that, but our electric rates are going to go up. Everything's going up.
Just curious, why is the electric going up?
Contracts
Okay.
and it's times. I mean, everything's going to go up over time anyway. We know that. Compensation for employees. Workers' comp insurance has gone out the roof. I'm sure you guys know that. You know, there's different things we need to look at. And how much money do we have? I don't know how much we have, to be honest. But I know we don't have a surplus. That's great.
So what would you use if elected to guide decisions that would be made regarding the budget? So to either get a surplus or keep it balanced, what principles would you use in shaping that budget?
Well, first of all, we just need to be very frugal with our stuff. We can't, no extra spending here and no extra spending there. Somebody's got to be accountable for what we're giving to our employees or what we're giving to our board to spend as far as, you know, tree trimming, contracts. We can't help natural disasters. I mean, there's windstorms and there's stuff like that's going to cost. But you have to have a surplus in there to be ready for those expenditures. Making sure we have the right number of employees in the right places. That's another issue. Our employees are very important in Chatham, and I don't know if you guys know them, very many of them or any of them at all, but our water department has taken a beating the last few years, and they had nothing to do with it, but they've done a phenomenal job fixing stuff. and working with what they have. I talked to one of their foremen last week and told him that they were doing a good job. And I also asked him how many employees did he need, more or less, and trying to figure out where we could save money that way. Equipment-wise, can we hold off on getting equipment for another year to save money? Or is it in too bad a shape to where it's costing us monthly to repair them? Is it costing too much? If we just went and bought it, would it save in the long run? Different things like that. I don't know too much about the electrical department because it just seems like the power's not out that much. They must be doing a doggone good job, you know? But everybody complains about the water, so everybody knows about the water issue. The parks department, cleaning, and you know, I don't know how many people they need or don't need, or if we could shift workers around to save money through that way also. Somebody's got to be held accountable though, and then finding where the means go at the end, you know. So that's one way that I've looked at doing it. I don't believe cutting people and laying people off are the way to do it though, because they're short-staffed as it is, just like everybody else is these days.
How many city or village employees are there in Chatham?
I don't know exactly how many village employees.
There's a lot of talk at the State House about property tax freeze. How would that impact Chatham?
The property tax freeze.
Mhm. Yeah, they're talking, you know.
From the multipliers or from just the whole set amounts?
I think it depends on the day what they're
Yeah,
discussing.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that's the
what I was
question
gonna
that I
say.
have.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And see, that's why I was wondering if they maintain an equal level of multiplier. Obviously, it's going to hurt everybody, not just
Uh-huh,
Chatham.
Right.
You know, they're going to make villages such as Chatham, Rochester, Riverton, Sherman, all them that don't have 100,000 people in them, because that's what they're
Right.
basing their numbers
Right.
off of.
Mhm.
Going to have to look for other areas of income. And like I said, I'm against tax increases at all. And I don't think that property tax freeze is the right way to do it for small villages, in my opinion.
If elected, how would you work to assure compliance with the Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act?
I am for a totally open board. Okay, and I've said this is part of what I said, is part of the accountability, part of the transparency in Chatham. Come sit with us. You want to know what's going on? You can come in there, hear our discussions, see what we're discussing. I want the public's opinion, and the only way to do that is to be open about everything, so they know everything that's going on. Yes, there's voted people in there to make decisions for everybody, but not everybody voted for those people, and they should have a say too. So I am 100% for being open. We will update the video recording and audio system that we have in Chatham. That will help out with some of those issues also.
Okay.
Well, and to follow up on that, because so many things you feel like you're not getting answers to, that's why I was curious about the freedom of information. You know, has anybody pushed that issue with if you're not getting answers that you want from your elected officials?
No, we have not. We go to the meetings and me not specifically, but many people go to the meetings and ask specific questions. And that's what you get, what I just did to you. So I think that everybody has a right to know. So I am for an open government, an open, go get it. Come see what we're doing. You know, call, email, however you want to do it.
We just would like to invite you then to share with our readers anything else you want them to know about you and about what makes you the best candidate for Chatham Village President.
Well, people like Chatham and love Chatham for the reasons I do. It's a wonderful place to raise our kids. We've got some of the best schools without comparison around. I mean, there's good schools everywhere, but Chatham schools are known. That's why people went there to begin with. And I'd hate for the village problems to push kids out of our school district when we have some of the best right there. I'm not a professional politician, and you can tell probably by this interview. I'm not a professional politician. But I've served this community, and after talking with my wife and more of my family, my parents live down there, my sisters live down there still. You know, we got together and said the only way to do this is to come out and run yourself and try to change things yourself and with the people's help. You know, I want to give a new approach to the community, being open to everybody, being available, and maybe responding to some of the emails and the questions. Whether we're fixing a water problem that was promised to be this great thing, and determining the way to fix it, I might not have all the answers, but we're going to go find out what they are. We got to manage our growth. However, we do need to grow. But through the collaboration with the school district, it's only right to involve them in our decisions on that. I'm committed to bringing the leadership skills that I've had over the past 25 years to the board and being able to respond to questions that are asked. And like I told you earlier, I might give you an answer you don't like, but I'm going to go out and get you the right one. You know, and at the end, if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And that's mainly what I want to bring to the table.